Chapter 5. Caleb parked me at my assigned tournament table. My heart pounded in my ears. I had to survive the tournament at least until Caleb was knocked out. I had made a wager with Caleb, a wager with a notorious badass, no-ties bachelor that wanted me for a weekend. A weekend of what? I already knew. My knees softened. Caleb chuckled.
Your face bleached out. Are you thinking of our weekend together? Like I said, I always win. However, I'd hate for you not to make it past the bubble. Slap your poker face on and fantasize about the rest later.
He playfully tugged my hair and strode to his seat, which was 4 tables away. He positioned himself in a chair facing me. He's right. I had to focus so I could play my best. There was 10 grand on the line, my 10 grand. I had to make it past the bubble. No one wanted to be the bubble. The bubble is the person who finishes in the spot right before the cash awards are paid. It's a bitter end to the tournament. I've only been the bubble once. It's not an experience I want to relive. Fortunately, I only lost 500 on that tournament. Everyone loves the bubble, except the unfortunate bubble. The dealers took their seats and were instructed to begin. My focus snapped to attention. My mind shuffled its priorities, and I was back in business. My 10,000 was priority number 1. My virtue was around there somewhere. I could feel Caleb's eyes on me. I didn't dare look at him. Instead, I glowered down the table at a bald man with gold chains and a gold front tooth. He made a move for the pot by spilling chips in. He's going down. They're all going down. I played aggressively, taking stabs at the pot. Then, for a few hands, I played tight by playing only winning cards. I switched back and forth until I knocked out 3 players. My chip stack doubled and then tripled. I was in good shape to crawl my way to the final table. The weight was lifting off my shoulders. After a couple of hours, the tournament director consolidated the tables to keep each table full. I was now 1 table away from Caleb and could hear him talking. He liked to chit-chat with the other players. It kept their guards down. Not everyone fell for it, but even if it eliminated a few players, he was closer to the final table. I tried not to listen, but his smooth voice sent shivers rampaging through my body.
What are you doing this weekend?
Caleb asked a player with a backwards baseball cap.
I'm going to spend it in style with my winnings.
Doesn't that mean you have to win first?
Yeah, but there are only 100 spots before we start getting paid.
True. I would hate to be the bubble.
Caleb said.
Players tend to tighten up right before. It's a real pain. I always try to stir up a little action at the table when it plateaus.
Yeah, man.
I smiled in spite of myself. Caleb was trying to coerce the guy to play aggressively. Nothing wrong with that, but playing aggressively against tight players can end badly if the tight player calls your bluff. A tight player makes a move if they have exceptionally strong cards. Cards that win.
Caleb, what are you doing this weekend?
A man with dreadlocks asked.
I always see you with hot women. They seem to line up for you, man. What's your secret?
My Porsche, they love it. My money doesn't hurt either.
I nodded. It was probably true.
You gonna find yourself a hot number after the tournament?
The man asked.
I already have one lined up.
My back straightened. The guys at the table laughed, as men tend to do when there's a conspiracy for getting lucky.
Personally, I prefer one that will give me a little hell before I tame her,
said a man in a gambler hat and dark eyes.
I heard she's a tough one to crack.
The back of my neck prickled with the sensation of leering eyes. I leaned back and shot a warning glance at my neighboring table. My poker face was in full force, even though I wanted to crawl under the table. No one could keep eye contact with me when I set my mind to a stare down. I had started practicing my poker stare when I was 14 and mastered it when I was 18. One by one, the men's gazes turned back to their hands. Caleb was the last to look away. He gave me a wink.
See what I mean?
The man in the gambler hat said.
She could give a man hell, but they would still come back for more.
Caleb chuckled. After a few hours, the players were consolidated again. I installed myself at my new table. Caleb positioned himself at the opposite end of the table. I thought you didn't like to sit opposite of me, I said.
This time it's different. Yesterday I was trying to keep you in the game. Today I have to win.
He said with a grin. So you think it's your talents alone determining whether I win or lose this tournament?
Yes.
I couldn't think of a witty reply. We'd already been playing for 8 hours. My back hurt, my butt hurt, and even my brain hurt. There was no way I was going to give up. Not now. There's no telling how long we'd have to play tonight. We keep playing until the final 6 players move on to the final table. I peeked at my cards. My face was stone, but my insides shriveled. I'd been dealt crap cards for the last 20 hands. If I didn't get a miracle hand soon, I was going to have to play aggressive and bluff my way through. After another 10 hands, it didn't happen. Good cards weren't coming my way. I had to make my own luck. I contemplated my Queen 4 offsuit. I didn't have a choice. I threw chips into the pot. A man with hoop earrings called, and Caleb shoved all of his chips in. I folded. This happened again. And again. I was in dire need of chips. I peeked at my cards, suppressing a grin at my pair of kings. I shoved in all my chips. Caleb called. I wasn't a threat to him. He had a deep stack of chips heaped high. The king of poker. The camera crew arrived as we both flipped over our cards. He had a 7-2 offsuit. In the poker world, a 7-2 was the worst possible hand a player could start with, something even backed up by mathematical odds. My mouth swung wide open. Poker face be damned, I was floored. What the hell was he thinking? The players stopped, mindlessly shuffling their chips, and a murmur spread. The dealer turned over 3 club cards on the flop. Caleb already had a club in his hand. One more club, and he'd win with a flush. My mind rewound to the times I witnessed him win horrible hands with his crazy luck. Not today. Please, not today. My nails dug into my palm as the dealer turned over an ace of clubs. Caleb made a flush. I was drawing dead. There weren't any cards that could come on the river to save me. Son of a bitch. I lost. My tournament was finished, and so was my savings. The players erupted with a roar of amazement. Caleb had done it again. He was known for plays that shouldn't win. For him, they do. The tournament director spoke into a microphone for the announcement.
Congratulations. You're all past the bubble. From this point on, you will all receive part of the prize pool.
The blood drained out of me. No, no, no. I was the freaking bubble? I was 1 spot away from money. My $10,000 buy-in was gone because of Caleb and his freaking 7-2. I stood, though my gooey knees protested, and mumbled an obligatory congratulations. I stalked out of the tournament room in confusion. He said something to me. I couldn't hear him. I didn't want to hear him. Curses were exploding in my head. I found my way out of the casino and drew in a deep breath to calm me. It wasn't working. Every time I sucked in oxygen, the flames in my head grew bigger. Someone brushed up next to me. I glared over my shoulder to see who it was and flinched.
Hello, darling. Can I buy you a drink?
The man with the gambler hat asked. Weren't you at the tournament?
Yes, but Caleb knocked me out. That man has his own poker playing style. Every time I think I've figured him out, wham! He knocks me out.
He knocked me out too.
Oh, well, that's a damn shame. You looked good at the poker table.
He traced my neck with his finger.
Why don't you and I go and comfort each other?
Ice flashed down my back and froze me to my spot. I was in no mood to be pleasant, and he was scary and sleazy. No, I'm going home. His brows lowered and his lips thinned.
I'll give you a ride home. Then I'll give you the ride of your life.
Absolutely not.
Are you afraid of me? Think I'm too much man for you?
Listen, you creepy son of a...
Nadia!
Remy shouted from his limo parked down the curb from us. He jogged the short distance, placing his giant hand on my shoulder.
Let's go. I'm taking you home.
He steered me to the back of the limo. "You're not really giving me a ride home, are you?" I asked him as I slid next to the privacy window.
Yes, that guy is bad news.
"Don't you have things to do for Grayson?"
No, he's got some stuff going on.
I settled in my seat and watched the lights go by as Remy drove me home. "Well, make sure this is my last limo ride. A girl could get used to this." In the quiet tomb of the limo, I bit my lip. I didn't want to cry in front of Remy. I had an inkling Grayson would hear about it, and it would make Remy supremely uncomfortable. I'm sure he could handle 10 ninjas, but one crying girl would bring him to his knees. Remy parked in front of the chapel. I hopped out of the car before he could open his door. I called my thanks to him as I scurried away before tears began to fall. I ran up the stairs and into my apartment. I kicked off my shoes and threw my purse on the floor. I gazed down to find Gus waiting for me with an angry stare down. Good poker face. "I'm sorry, Gus. I bet you're hungry." I poured his food ration and threw in a few treats for not eating the couch while I was away. My cell phone vibrated in my purse. I reached inside and dug around, but the phone wasn't cooperating. I was in no mood to play Find the Cell Phone. I dumped my purse upside down and grabbed the phone as it fell out. Seeing it was Maya, I answered the phone.
"Nadia, it's Maya. Did you make it home okay?"
I did. Why?
Grayson asked me to find out. He got a call from Remy.
News travels fast in the casino.
Only about some things. Sometimes I can't get any news out of either of them. I was wondering if you wanted to go and grab a bite to eat. I heard you are out of the tournament.
I cringed. News really did travel fast. I met Maya at an inexpensive Mexican restaurant about a mile off the strip. She waved me to the table. A pitcher of margaritas was waiting for me. "Planning on getting us drunk?" I asked. She giggled.
"No, but I need to relax, and I know you're probably wound up from the tournament,"
she said, pouring both glasses to the rim.
"So tell me about it."
"I want to forget about the tournament. Let's just say Caleb beat me with a 7-2.
Is that bad?
Statistically, it's the worst possible hand, and he still won.
You must be mad.
Boiling.
So, are you seeing Caleb?
No, I never want to see him again. There was one problem with that. I had to see him again this weekend. I'll make sure to leave all my knives at home." Maya's eyes brightened.
What about Grayson? I can vouch for him being the best brother-in-law in the world.
He seems like a nice enough guy, but as far as I can tell, his life revolves around work.
That's for sure. He hasn't been to a family gathering in years. David always razzed him about it.
David?
Oh, that's my husband. I told you he's missing, right? It's been a couple of years. Grayson helped me get back on my feet.
Maya said as her fingers traveled to the rim of her glass, mindlessly circling the rim.
David and I weren't married long before he disappeared. I still love him, but I decided I needed to move on with my life. His family has been really supportive. They aren't mad I'm seeing someone.
Sounds like a nice family.
Oh, they are. If you marry Grayson, then we can be sisters-in-law. Well, sort of.
I'm not going to marry anyone just to become a sister-in-law, I said, adding quickly, even though you would be the best sister-in-law ever. Maya's smile brightened. I believed a little payback was in order. So, I have someone in mind for you. Her eyes widened over her margarita glass.
I already have someone.
True, but I think I know of someone better, and you already know him. I was actually thinking of Remy. I didn't know too much about him. Maya seemed like a sweet girl who could use a little protection, and Remy could use a little softening. Come to think of it, I wondered if Remy was married.
Are you trying to hook me up?
Yes, and a little taste of your own medicine was in order. She laughed.
All right, I'll give it a rest. Grayson lectures me for always trying to fix people up. Just keep that guy on the back burner.
Deal. The next morning, I crawled out of bed with a margarita-induced headache. As I stumbled through the apartment to find the coffee maker, a note wedged under the front door caught my attention. I could tell from the writing it was from Frankie.
Caleb was here to see you but didn't want to disturb you. Wasn't that nice of him? He left a ticket in the office for you.
Ticket? After a pot of coffee and a hot shower, I traipsed downstairs. No one was around as it was still too early in the day for weddings. I extracted an envelope with my name on it from the front desk drawer. Inside was another note with sloppy handwriting scrawled across the paper.
Nadia, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to suck out with a 7-2. Actually, I was trying to get your stack back up by losing the hand. It didn't seem to work too well, did it? Please come watch the final table as my guest. I would love to see you. P.S. If you come and forgive me, I'll forget the wager, unless you'd care to honor it.
Still furious, I grumbled. If he honestly didn't mean to win with that ridiculously crappy hand, and he'll forget the wager, then I had to go. The final table wasn't scheduled until the afternoon. I stuffed the ticket in my pocket and made my way back upstairs. I had plenty of time before the tournament began, and I was determined to relax. It wouldn't be wise to show up angry and hungry for revenge. Stuffing myself with pancakes and drowning my anger in syrup might douse the flames a bit. "Hello, Elvis," I said to Frankie as I made my way downstairs to leave for the tournament. My headache was gone and my stomach was full. All that remained was a bit of post-margarita sluggishness and a giant hole in the pit of my stomach from losing 10,000.
I know, he's way overdone, but he's so Vegas that I can't help myself.
You never dress up as young Elvis anymore. I like it when you do. You're very dashing.
Isn't that the truth? Young Elvis, however, didn't dress up in a bell-bottomed rhinestone jumpsuit. I like the flash. By the way, I started a calendar for you. I've already booked you on Friday, so you need to practice.
What? I panicked. What did you do?
I did what any fabulous manager would do and found you a paying gig to create a name for yourself.
I'm afraid to ask.
It's perfectly harmless. There's a magic act on the strip. They need a girl who can perform card shuffling and tossing tricks before the main act. You know, Vegas style. It's going to be televised too. You're lucky I found this gig for you.
I'm going to look ridiculous.
Your card tossing tricks are awesome. It looks like they fly through the air, and they always come back into your hand. You must have had a pretty sad social life in high school to have gotten that good.
Why don't you hire that poker player who can slice through carrots with playing cards?
You mean Chris, the guy with the hat and beard? He's a televised pro and already working the circuit.
Does it pay anything?
That's my girl, now you're talking. It pays $800 minus my cut.
How much is your cut?
That's not important right now. Let's concentrate on surviving the gig.
Fine. But if I make an ass out of myself, will you give up on this?
Don't you know anything about celebrities? They always make asses out of themselves. It's good PR, gets them noticed. By the way, where's my Rocky outfit?
Oh, crap. It was still in the trunk of the limo. I arrived at the casino minutes before the tournament began, timing it perfectly so I didn't have to talk to Caleb. I settled into my front row seat to watch the final table. The game was about to start. A camera crew and floor director talked to the director through their headsets. Overhead lights were turned off, leaving the spotlights to shine on the table. 6 players were led out to the floor. The audience clapped at their entrance, creating a buzz of excitement that saturated the air. Caleb would be playing for the $1 million prize. The host came out with a dazzling white smile and spoke the opening lines. 4 scantily clad women with enhanced breasts that defied all laws of gravity paraded out, stacking mounds of bundled money onto the table. The prize money. I drooled as bundle upon bundle fell to the table, making the audience cheer. Caleb casually glanced at the money piled in front of him, but was unaffected by the quantity. He caught me studying him and gave me a small wink. I ground my teeth together. He couldn't care less about the money, while I was going to have to live on peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. The dealer shuffled, and the air in the room changed. It was now serious and quiet. The breathless anticipation was like televised golf where everyone intently watches the players and no one makes a sound. Even though I could kick Caleb, I did like to see him win. He took winning and losing in stride as if it was meant to be. I guess he's an okay guy, as long as he's not at my table. My teetering views on Caleb were going to keep me guessing about how I truly felt about him. Watching poker wasn't the same as playing it. I'd rather be dealt in on the action. Twiddling my thumbs on the sidelines wasn't terribly exciting. Unlike a timed sport, poker can go on forever. This could be a remarkably short game or a dreadfully long one. I crossed my fingers for a short one. As the players were bantering and shuffling chips between their fingers, my mind drifted to the bet. I knew I don't have to worry about the weekend with Caleb anymore, but I couldn't help but wonder what it would have been like to feel his hands on me, to experience his lips covering mine. The crowd burst into an uproar. So much for golf. The atmosphere changed to football. I jumped in my seat at the outburst. I hadn't been paying attention. Caleb's imaginary lips and hands had been distracting me.
Did you see that?
A man next to me asked as he jumped out of his seat in a flash. He was clapping with the audience and even gave a short whistle. When he sat down, I asked him, "What happened?"
Oh man, just like a girl not to know. Caleb knocked out 3 guys in one hand. I don't think that's ever happened at a final table. The guy is a poker genius.
I sighed. He is. All he had to do was beat 2 other players and he would win the million. The bastard better not win. It's too bad I don't believe in voodoo because I would have brought a doll of him and jabbed it with a needle. I took a deep breath. Maybe there's a shrink out there who specializes in poker players that can't shrug off bad beats. Caleb grabbed me from my seat and spun me around. The jerk had won the tournament. The other players never stood a chance. "You're still on camera," I said, trying to escape the spotlight.
I know.
"I can't believe you won. Go claim your money." I pushed at him to let me down.
I will, but I want something first.
"This is very embarrassing. What do you want?" Caleb leaned his head down and kissed me. His lips were hard and strong. I had an urge to throw my arms around his neck and deepen the kiss. I also had an urge to give him a black eye. He released me before I could do either.
Wait for me at the bar. I'll be done in a minute.
My legs were a little unsteady when I sat down. The man sitting next to me inspected me with a quizzical gaze.
Dude, I thought he only dated models.
The power zapped and sizzled, leaving us in complete darkness.
Please stay calm and remain in your seats.
The host instructed.
The lights will be restored as soon as possible. Security staff will bring flashlights to assist.
The chatter from the audience was quiet at first and then grew louder.
Nadia?
A hand touched my arm. "Caleb?"
Yeah, are you okay?
"Of course." He plucked me from the chair and took my seat. His strong hands guided me down onto his lap. His finger traced up my arm to my shoulder and then stopped at my neck. As his thumb massaged the side of my neck, I stifled the urge to kick him and instead let the sensation relax me. "What are you doing?" I asked.
Passing the time the best way I know how.
"You sucked out on me with a 7-2.
I know. I'm really sorry.
I was the bubble. I hate being the bubble.
I'll make it up to you.
How? He pressed his lips to mine. I pushed him back. I would rather have my 10,000 buy-in back. He wrapped his arms around me. A jolt hit me in the stomach as he traced my bottom lip with the tip of his tongue. I slightly parted for him, and he took advantage, parting my lips further and exploring. His tongue played against mine. His hands ran up and down my back, grazing the side of my breast with each pass and making me press into his lap.
You're not playing fair,
he said into my neck as he nibbled a trail down to my shoulders. Neither are you.
Is the wager still on?
The lights buzzed and then flickered on. I squinted at the sudden brightness, trying to move away from Caleb. The man next to us frowned at me, then Caleb.
What the hell, man? I thought you were into hot chicks.
Caleb was about to answer when a gasp from the audience startled us. The $1 million prize was missing, and a man was sprawled on the floor.